Hello my people, it's Max Sally here. Just a quick update on the S&P 500 index. So the S&P is back above the 5,000 mark. It passed previous resistance. So if we look, the 27th of December 2021, the S&P was at its height, was at this area of 4790. Then we go to the 8th of Jan 2024, the S&P goes past its previous last high on the 8th of Jan. So from the 10th of Jan 2022, around that point there, 27th December, end of 2021, beginning of 2022, and it never got back to that high until mid-Jan 2024. So what have we got there? We got 2022, we got 2023. So it's took just over 2 years for the S&P to return back to its height. Then we have to have a look at what it did next. So what we do is we measure. So let's take a measure here, and we can see that once it passed its height, it ran up 8.84%. So in essence, the S&P has gone up around 4.4% annually over the last 2 years. So when you look at it like that, if you take inflation into account, it hasn't moved. If anything, it's down. The S&P is down over the last 2 years if we're taking inflation into account. Because the last couple of years inflation has easily been plus 20% over the last 3 years. So what's happened now? So the S&P from the 1st of April initially pulled back 6%. Now the stock market, a healthy pullback is anywhere between 6 and 10%. A 10% pullback happens maybe once or twice a year. A 5% pullback can maybe happen 2-3 times a year. On average, if it goes past a 10% pullback, then I will start to get a little bit concerned, because it's then in territory where it can go anywhere up to 20%. So here we are today. Well, this week, last week of April, and we hit a low here, and we dipped back under the 5,000 mark. We come up another 3+%, and now we're waiting to see, is this going to make a higher high, or is this just a lower low, what we're looking at now? This boxed area was my buy area, so I've been waiting for this whole shaded purple box area. It's gone into the area. We bought a little bit down here. it popped straight back up. A bit unhappy because we wanted it to dip closer to that 7.5 pullback area from the top to the bottom. Ideally, we wanted closer to 10%, which would have brought us right. A 10% pullback from the top to the bottom would have brought us right back to the start of the year. We would have loved that. We would have loaded the boat. But it's the 30th of April. Just a quick update on the S&P 500. Will we see a bounce upwards? The technicals are suggesting that it wants to go higher. But maybe it could need to ease off a bit more, because looking at Nvidia at the moment, it's run up a bit. Looking at Nvidia is surging the stock market at the moment. It's run up a bit, so that is looking to pull back, and it will carry the S&P with it. So we'll have to wait and see. Also, Nvidia earnings next month. So let's wait and see what happens with the S&P 500.